Hi everyone, it's me, Darlene. I am back with part 2 of my mini-series, The Beginning of the End of a Friendship. And you need to go watch that video first because I'm not going to cover everything. Go watch it. I'll have the link in the description of this video. It's also going to pop up on the end screen, but you should go watch it first. And I know I can put a little card, they call it a card, a little thing somewhere at the top of this video. I'm going to try to do that like right now, so look up there. And you can stop and go watch that first and then just come back here after. There was a few things I wanted to cover. First of all, YouTube has done something cool, and I will talk about it in a separate video, but they've made it possible for content creators, when they turn comments on or have comments on, we can choose to only let subscribers comment. I think that's fucking genius. Subscribers and members. Members pay. Subscribers don't pay. I'm the queen of comments off. If I'm going to have comments on, that's great if they have to subscribe. You should see all the subscribers I got because of part 1 of this mini-series. So it's a really cool thing. I might be turning a lot more comments on, even from the past, especially my past videos that are still doing really well. So that way, if somebody's watching and they want to leave a comment and they're not a subscriber, they'll have to subscribe. And there's other things too. I can put a time that people have to wait. I think that's to stop people from subscribing, leaving a comment, unsubscribing. Right now, I have it set up that you subscribe and you can comment right away. So I like all of this. Okay, part 1. I wanted to say a couple of things. First of all, I think some people think this was a recent event, and it wasn't. It was 9 years ago. And others thought that like I'm taking it too seriously and that I should just get over it. And that's not the case either. If I'm going to tell you a story about my past, I'm going to tell you how that made me feel then and how it still makes me feel now, because I am what I consider a highly sensitive person. Look that up. It's not just words. There's, people who are like that. About 20% of the people are highly sensitive. It's HSP. And I'm also an empath. So not only do I feel my pain, I feel the pain of others for whatever reason. I have great empathy for people who do wrong, because I know they are probably just going through life the best way they can, just like I am. I've hurt people in my life, not physically, obviously. I'm a chicken. I don't hurt people that way. Yeah, I'm going to just be myself, right? And you don't have to worry that I'm falling apart, over this. But it is painful, and I do think of it often. Let's see, I'm looking here. Yeah, and, people are like, well, why do you bring this stuff up? Who cares? My wallet cares. But there are certain things that I do talk about. I've been doing YouTube over 11 years now. And yeah, I like it when I have good content, and I like it when I know others can relate. And it does feel good for me to look back, see where I was, see where I am, all that stuff. It's content. And I love crocheting too. Those videos tank for me. I'm still doing those. It's not always about the money. I said I wanted to do 100 crochet stitches, and I want to do 100 crochet stitches. I don't care. It gives me something to do, something different, but I'm going to do the videos that I want. And yes, I earn a living doing this. So I do try to pick and choose some things. And I used to talk, about personal stuff a lot, and I'd like to get back to that a little bit. Oh, one thing is somebody thought like, well, I said that friend and I kind of parted ways when, I was drinking and things like that. And I think that person thought that, oh, well, maybe I was being a complete asshole to her, and, not that I deserved this, but, she had good reasons to do things to me. I don't think anybody has a good reason to do something to somebody, like, in a sneaky way and on purpose, But the thing is that we parted ways and I was drinking. I started drinking at 9, and by 12 years old I was drinking all on my own, and that's that. So it's not like we had this grown-up argument. I don't really remember like exactly when we stopped hanging out, but we were still neighbors. So we saw each other until she moved and I moved, and then we ended up back in the house. But we would say hi to each other and talk, but we just weren't buddies. We weren't drinking buddies. I don't know if I ever drank with her in my life. So there's that. And then another thing is, I like to talk about these things because I just think it's odd. I like to analyze all this stuff. I like to try to figure people out. And, so there's a lot of reasons that I like to talk about this stuff. Another thing, some thought that she made it out to be like this was her gathering. No, the others knew this was my idea. And she didn't take credit for that. It's not like she said, oh, let's have a gathering, and then, like I was invited. It was my gathering at her house, and I had that one specific day that really wouldn't have been the best day for me, but I could go. And she picked that day, so I went because I didn't want to make it uncomfortable for the other two if they didn't want to go, because I wasn't going to be there. I didn't want them to say, well, we're not going to go. Darlene's not going. So I went, and you have to go watch that video. And then you might ask, well, why do you stay? Why did you, hang out with her that long after, these other incidents that you're going to learn about? And it's because I do like to give people a chance. I enjoyed a lot of the relationship that we had, the friendship, and didn't want to just throw that away. And like I said, I'm forgiving, I'm understanding, and I have great empathy, and I just, was able to put up with it. But I'm telling you, each time things were like, okay, now okay, but I wasn't oblivious to this. The first time that she would do little things that I felt were a little bit disrespectful or like a little dig, I recognize that. I'm not a stupid woman. I grew up with a narcissistic mother, and my whole life my job was to figure her out. So it's all good. All right, now let's get to part 2. This was, okay, so I did find that the incident where part 1 for that gathering, that was sometime in 2016, midsummer, late summer, around there. I could find out, but I don't need to be digging through all that stuff. So, and then this next incident was several months later, and it was, I believe, in 2017. So maybe, I don't know, 5 months, 6 months. We're still in that group, and I have pretty much like just, whatever. What happened, and I liked doing what I was doing. I liked having this group. I liked helping them with YouTube, because now they're doing YouTube videos and stuff. It came about at some point that we wanted to have another little get-together, but we were going to go shopping, and I know it was in Biddeford, and it might have been Marden's. I think there was a Marden's in Biddeford, and the 4 of us were supposed to get together. Now, one was going to get with me and my friend, and then the other one was coming in the other direction. The other one in the other direction, I remember that she ended up not making it, either got lost or the GPS didn't take her the right way, something, and she was really bummed. So there was just the 3 of us, and during the ride, not my friend, but the other friend, she was in the back seat. So she was talking about creating thumbnails and things like that. And she said that she was using a program. And I said, God, I would love to learn that one. PicMonkey, something like that. And because I use ancient stuff, and I use paint. It's like you can't do anything on paint. And I said, gee, maybe we could get together, and I'll have our laptops, and would you mind showing us a little bit of PicMonkey? She's like, sure, that'd be great. Now, my friends, she happened to be the one driving. And I said, what do you think? I said, do you think we can get together at your house? Yes, we can get together at my house. You know where this is going, don't you? It's mind-blowing to me. And we didn't set a time or anything there. We just thought, yeah, we'll get together. Can't really remember everything, how it happened, who got to know first or whatever, but I do know that I told my friend that it was a day, and I think it was because I might have been having my flash sale. There was a time that I was doing my sales like once a month or every 6 weeks, and then when that sale was live, I could not leave my computer. I mean, I have to manually update things, and people are just buying left and right. The only other time that I had a job to do was on Mondays when I was doing the flyer for the store Shaw's supermarket. But I think I was done couponing, doing the coupon blog at that point. So I'm pretty sure it was a sale, but it was something that this time I was not going to be able to leave and be over there. And got it right. She picked the day that I could not make it. And this time I didn't go. And I didn't tell the other person that I wasn't going. I just let it be. And I told my friend, I'm not going to be able to go. It's all right. That's okay. The same thing. I'm sure we can get together another time and she can show you. Or I can show you. I'll learn from her. And this time I was like, this is fucking bullshit. And I don't know. I probably thought, I'm going to just dump her ass. But, but I didn't for whatever reason. I kept on. Now, like I said, sometimes there's good things about somebody. We talked every day or every night. I mean, we talked about a lot of things. And I guess I just didn't want to lose that. It kind of reminds me of like, I dated somebody last summer. And I knew he wasn't the one, and I didn't like certain things he did until he did a thing, the whole, whatever. I'm not going to get back into it. He did something that I felt was like really just, I couldn't handle it. It was being like, I'm trying to think of the word. He wasn't truthful on his video about a few things. So I dumped his ass shortly after, and I got to tell you that story too because I never filled you in and all that. So I did not go, and this is where I tell you it reminded me of something because I can see across the way, and I really don't know if I want to tell the story, but it reminded me of when I was a child. There was something going on at that house that other kids were at, and I knew nothing about it. And I was probably 6 or 7, and it tore me up. It tore me up that all the neighborhood girls were there, and there was a pony. All right, it was her birthday party. And I do vaguely remember, I was just sitting on the front steps crying. I'm not going to cry this time right now, so I can tell you. And I could see everybody there. And I almost think that my mother went over to see, can Darlene come over? Something like that. But I don't know. Maybe I was wishing my mother could do that. But I do also remember my mother saying to me something along the lines of, like, it was kind of my fault. Like, maybe if you acted better. That's what I'm hearing in my head. But I know that that happened and that I was not part of it. And I didn't know any reason why not. I don't know. I didn't understand that. Oh, and when I said that the friend said as an adult that when she was little she was jealous of me, what she had said at that point was my hair. She used to get perms and her hair was fine, and she said she was a little bit jealous of my hair. So, it was that. But I don't know. I can't believe I'm getting into all this, but you know what? It feels good because I really just left everybody high and dry, not knowing what happened with that friendship. And again, it's what happened. It's how I felt. And it kind of feels good to be able to talk about it to somebody. So they had the get together, and I didn't go, and I had to relive the whole missing the birthday party with the pony. And I don't really remember after that. Obviously, I didn't give her a hard time about it because we stayed friends for a while longer. But there is a part 3, and the part 3 was the last straw. And I'll tell you part 3 later, not right now. But I don't want to give it away. It'll be another story another time. So now we know for sure that the first time she booked it on a day that I asked not to, for my get-together, my little meet and greet with these 2 friends who knew me through YouTube and wanted to meet me. And now that one I went to because I was able, it just wasn't my favorite day to do it. I had something to do with my mother or something like that. But this one I couldn't do. And even if I could, I wasn't going. And after the next incident, I'll be able to explain to you how that person felt going to my friend's place alone and finding out I wasn't going to be there, because I'm the one that asked if she would show us. And she was expecting me to be there, unless my friend told her she's not going to be able to be here. I don't know. I don't know everything that was said, but I did find out a little bit of something. So it was intentional, and I just don't understand why somebody... Okay, I think some people, they really have to kind of step on somebody to feel good about themselves. Now, obviously, my friend has some issues. I don't know, her childhood seemed okay to me, but I'm sure she thought mine was okay too. She didn't know what was going on behind closed doors. I don't know there either. And even if I knew, I'm not going to tell you about her life. And the other thing is, like I said, I don't want anything bad for her. I don't wish anything bad. It just is what it was. And I don't see it as a hateful person. I just see it as somebody who has issues. I have issues. We all have issues. And her issues come out in that way. So, but then I'm going to tell you a couple of other little things. Like I said, along the way, you start to notice things. Just like if you're dating somebody new, I'd see little things right away, and just like, oh, it's okay. I'll hang out with him for a little bit more. It's not, not like I was filling his head with, promises and things. I wasn't making it like this was the thing for me. I just was taking steps at a time. And with this friendship, I was, keeping track of the little things. And there's a lot of people who do this. So I'm going to give you an example. We talked almost every night. My mother and I used to watch the reality shows together in Sanford, Maine. They would mostly start at 8 o'clock. So she would call at times before 8, but not too much before 8, so that we'd be still talking when my show is starting to come on. And I'm sitting with my mother. I know I have to explain things to my mother, so I really want to be paying attention to my show. At one point I said to her, I said, do you mind, I said, if you call me at night, would you mind not calling me any later than 7:30, because then that gives us a chance to talk before my show starts. And I said, that would just be better. I said, because as it gets close to 8, I'm trying to wrap up things that I'm doing, and I'm going to go sit with my mother. Okay, fine. The next time she calls at 8. Not before 8 like before, but right at 8. So I could see on caller ID that it was her, and I picked up and I'm like, yeah? And she goes, I know it's 8 o'clock and I know your show has started, but I wanted, and she could smell like some smoke, and I think it was winter. And she goes, can you just go to your door and smell outside and see if you smell this smoke or whatever? And I go outside and I was like, yeah, I think it's just the people next door with they had a wood-burning stove. I could smell that. Okay, well, I didn't want to bother you. You know, it's that kind of thing. A lot of people do that. I know you're busy, but, or I know you said you wanted this, but, you know, and, see, I didn't like that. I don't like stuff like that. It wasn't necessary. I mean, if she would be like, you know, the house across the street is on fire. I mean, I could understand something like that, but it was that kind of thing. And if you pay attention to that, there are a lot of people that if you let them know, I think they want to feel important enough that you will be like, oh, well, I understand. It's going to make them feel good. You know? I don't see her as a narcissist, but I do see her, from my experience, as someone who does want to, probably has low self-esteem and would like to be put on a pedestal. I don't know. I'm sure you know people who, like, if you tell them something that would work out for you, that they'll find a way to interrupt that. I don't know. I knew this woman online, never met her, but we went back and forth, and a lot of stuff I could talk about, just these online weirdo relationships that I had, too, friendships, I should say. And she thought it was cool to tell me a story about she was going to her friend's wedding, and the wedding was clear that, I can't remember the colors, but they were saying that, asking that everybody would just wear like the men plain shirts and the women, you know, something else. And they were very specific. It wasn't like, you know, we want you, you know, wearing this style, this, but it was just like something plain, nothing loud. And the friend that I was talking to got a kick out of telling me that she and her guy got into like the weirdest fucking clothes, the weirdest clothes to show up at that wedding. Not just a shirt that had like some flowers, like it was like, I showed my mother the pictures. This woman showed me the pictures. It was like 2 clown outfits. And I thought, how mean. Now, if I was the bride, I would have kicked them out. I would have been like, no, you're not coming in here like that after I asked. You know, either just don't go if you think it's too much to ask what to wear. I think it's weird. I wouldn't be asking people to come to my wedding and I'm going to tell them what to wear. No, I think that's weird. But the thing is she did it. And this woman purposely did the opposite because she knew she'd get the attention. I don't know, people are very, very weird. All right, I'm going to hang up now, and I will come back in a little bit with part 3. You know, that's the time I couldn't continue. I can put up with a lot of things like, you know, anything that I can say, well, that's probably trauma or whatever. I can understand people, how they do things, and that it doesn't mean they mean wrong. It just means that they're feeding something that they need. But I cannot tolerate lack of trust. Absolutely no reason to be with somebody if I can't trust them. So that gives you a hint of what's coming up. All right, thank you so much. Hey, leave a comment, and if you're not subscribed, you're going to have to subscribe. I like that. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.